Hi there, my name is Mike and welcome to my one-bedroom apartment in Uptown Manhattan. So this is the entryway. I did some cosmetic things here. This wainscoting is actually wallpaper that I found at Target. And these, the floor tiles are vinyl self-adhesive tiles that I found on Amazon. And there's hardwood floor underneath here, but I just wanted to do something fun, and I've seen a lot of people do tiled entryways, so I thought that would be a nice little moment. This piece, I actually found this wire brass frame, and I put it on the wall. It didn't really look like anything, so I decided to trace it, and I painted all of these shapes with the colors that I painted the apartment with. So it's all kind of cohesive. This light fixture I found on Amazon, and the medallion is something I found at Home Depot, and I've had several different fixtures up there, but this was more consistent with the mid-century vibe that we've been going for since the last round of renovations. Now we are in the dining room. This is a controversial piece because it takes up a lot of space, but it was a cool project. My friend bought a house in Marble Hill, which is walking distance from here. And this was in one of the bedrooms, and it was out on his front porch. And I said, "What are you doing with this fireplace?" He's like, "I'm getting rid of it." I'm like, "Can I have it?" And at the time, it was all painted white, and it was really dirty, and it looked bad. And I understood why he decided to get rid of it, but what I did was I painted it, I put the tiles on, I got the electric insert, I got the screen, I got the grate. And then he came over and said, "Ooh, where'd you get that fireplace?" And I'm like, "You gave it to me." And he's like, "Can I have it back?" And I'm like, "No!" So, but I would like to maybe one day have it find a new home so I can have a little more space here. And it's a little more traditional than the rest of my decor now, but I think it still looks good. This piece I also got from my friend. This was collecting dust in his basement. This is an actual vintage Sputnik chandelier. And he was like, "Do you want it?" And I'm like, "Yes, please." So I got these spherical bulbs, and it just has that perfect touch of real vintage vibe that I absolutely love. This table is also a mid-century design. I think it's an Eiffel table, but it's not a real Eiffel table. These chairs I got from Amazon, and the table I got from Walmart of all places. But I'm very happy with it. It's held up quite well, and I can sit 6 people around this table, and it's totally fine. This piece, actually, this sideboard is a company called Mogwai, and you'll be hearing a little bit more about Mogwai. That's where I have a few different pieces that came from Mogwai. This came in a box. I had to assemble it myself, but I love my Legos and I love my puzzles, so I got to put it together, and I enjoy that kind of stuff. Now this one, this was the big project. This is the kitchen, obviously, and when I first moved in, it was literally falling apart. It had giant soffits above the cabinets, and the entire kitchen only came to here. And the rest of this was a breakfast nook. I only had like one little bit of countertop. The refrigerator was here, and it was a small stove, and the dishwasher didn't have a panel on the end of it, and there were tiles in the middle by the sink that were crumbling under my feet. So eventually I had a friend that worked at Home Depot, and we came up with a custom configuration of standard cabinets. So basically we measured, we fit the cabinets in based on what would fit, and then there's a couple of little pieces of fill strip on the ends to make it look built in. The countertops, the people from Home Depot did, but everything else I did myself. I installed the cabinets. And when I first installed the cabinets, they were a dark cherry stain. And I had a red recycled glass backsplash. And I loved it at the time. It was kind of like an Italian bistro. and everybody loved it. But eventually I got tired of the dark and the bright colors, and I decided to neutralize the entire apartment when I did my COVID renovation. So I ended up painting the tile white, and eventually I ended up painting the cabinets as well. My inspiration was actually this color here, because this refrigerator sticks out a little bit, and I was like, well, what if the whole refrigerator cabinet was the exact same color as the side of the refrigerator? So I color matched this, and then that's why this is all the dark color, and then all of the lower cabinets are that color, and the upper cabinets are 2 shades lighter on the same paint chip. So that's a way to get a cohesive color scheme going. And the wall color is 2 shades lighter than this, all in the same chip. This Roman blind, I actually made this myself. It's not functional, it's just decorative. It's just a piece of fabric that I found at the fabric store that I loved. The palette, it's just my blacks and whites and grays. And I folded it, and I stapled it, and I hung it up, and nobody knows that it's not a real functional Roman blind. This piece actually I also got from my friend. This is kind of reminiscent of the George Nelson bubble lamp in the saucer shape, because this is very mid-century, because they were all about, you know, the space race, and so you see lots of saucer shapes and lots of space motifs in mid-century modern. This is a copy of a picture that I actually drew of the Empire State Building. And while I was visiting my friends in Minneapolis, we had a little art party, and we did some drawings and paintings. I actually put film on these windows that face the other side of the building, because obviously it's just the other part of the building and I wanted privacy, so that's what I did, and it looks fine. I might swap them out for something a little more, with a little more texture. Something that looks maybe like stained glass. What do you guys think? Alright, let's move on to the living room. So here we are in the living room. This is probably my favorite room in the house. It's obviously the room I spend the most time in, and everything that I chose to put in this space, I am so pleased with. Everything was like the first choice was the right choice. So, about 5 years ago, I was in desperate need of a new sofa. I had a love seat. There was a brown corduroy love seat, sleeper sofa, that I got from Jennifer Convertibles that we affectionately named Jenny. But Jenny was past her prime, and I desperately needed a new sofa. So I went searching, and I kept coming back to this style. I found the same sofa on Amazon and Wayfair, and everywhere online I looked, I kept finding this same sofa. And it's actually from a company called Modway. And then I discovered that my favorite style was actually mid-century, because it resonated with me, because I've been exposed to it my whole life. But I think at that time I didn't really know what it was. And then it became this kind of search to find as many mid-century things as I could find. This light fixture is another Sputnik. This is actually from Urban Outfitters, and my friend in Minneapolis gave it to me. Actually put it in my suitcase. I unscrewed it and broke it down and put it in my suitcase. This coffee table is an actual vintage piece. I will put the name of it up on the screen for those of you who are interested. This is actually, I don't know what year it's from, but my mother told me that she actually had this same coffee table when I was a child, and I don't remember that, but how incredible is that? Over here we have a piece that, this was a bit of a dumpster dive. My sister found this in New Jersey, where she lived at the time, and someone had thrown it away. This is the Eiffel chair, the Eames Eiffel chair, I think it is. And fell in love with that. That was the first piece I had in that style, and then I got the table and chairs to match it. These shelves I found at Target, got them on sale. I was thrilled because they were much nicer than the ones I had before. And in case you're interested in my artwork, This is not a frame TV, ladies and gentlemen. This is just a YouTube video. You too can do this. But the interesting thing is this wall. When I renovated my kitchen, I learned how to do tile work. And I decided I wanted to build a giant faux chimney to cover the wires from my TV. And then eventually I actually got this electric insert, because I mentioned before that I've been thinking about getting rid of the big fireplace in the dining room. But so this one is my more modern fireplace. I built this frame out of plywood, and there's just a wood piece that I cut to shape on top. And it's much sleeker than the other one. And this one actually gives off heat. So I'm very, I like having that in the wintertime when I just need a little extra coziness, because it gets cold in New York during the winter. Over here, this is a replica of the Eames lounge chair. This is a famous mid-century design. The real chairs go between $8,000 and $10,000, but I got this one on Amazon, and I'm very happy with it. It looks exactly the way I want it to look, and I got the look for less. Rug I actually found at HomeSense. I need to show you my French doors. When I first moved into this apartment, this was all one solid wall and just the two doors in the middle, and they were not French doors. When you closed the doors, there was no light that came into this room. I think the previous owners had a child and decided to create a second bedroom. So immediately I swapped out the doors for the French doors. And then during COVID, I was watching an episode of House and Home, and they had these beautiful French doors on the office space in this apartment or this house. And I said, oh my God, if I get 2 more French doors, I can make all this light come in. So I got 2 more French doors, and I actually cut out the drywall and mounted these 2 as fixed panels. And so now I have twice as much light that comes into the room. And that's one of my favorite projects that I have ever done. Very, very pleased with the way that came out. You'll notice over here I have this piece of art that I was so excited when I found it, because it's just the right scale, it's the right color palette. And I used to have 6 guitars lined up on this wall, and I loved it and everybody else loved it. My sister was always like, Michael, you need to get rid of the guitars. And I fought with her until I found this piece, and I said, okay. And she happened to be there at the store with me when I found the piece, so I was like, guess what? She's like, you're getting rid of the guitars. I'm like, yes, I'm getting rid of the guitars. Sometimes she's right. But anyway, so we're gonna move into the studio, and this is where the magic happens. This is where I actually record music. We built this desk. It's just a piece of butcher block that I got at Home Depot, and I cut it to size because I wanted something that was going to span the entire width of the room. These cabinets I actually got, I did a little renovation for my neighbors once upon a time, and these were her old kitchen cabinets. And then when I did the kitchen, I decided to paint these with the leftover paint, and I'm much happier with the way they came out. They used to be that orangey oak color, so I'm much happier with this. These are acoustic panels that I got from Amazon, and I have my speakers, and I have my electric piano, and that's an old cymbal that actually has a crack in it, so we got a new one. And here is my Lego collection, and my Ultimate Collector Series Millennium Falcon with 7,541 pieces. That took me 20 hours to put together, but I love doing Legos. It's like very, very therapeutic. I know a lot of people share that love of Lego, but yeah, so this is a poster from The Empire Strikes Back, and my poster of the original Star Wars A New Hope and Return of the Jedi. So I used to have my Star Wars stuff sprinkled all over the house, and I eventually decided to put every Star Wars thing in this room so it would have more impact and also would make the rest of the house seem a little more grown up and a little less cluttered. Over here we have an actual Millennium Falcon toy. We have Darth Vader's TIE Fighter toy, and I actually have, believe it or not, the Darth Vader collector's case with my old action figures in there. Some of those might be worth something in the collector's market. And this piano is the piano I grew up with. This piano was in my house when I was born, and I learned how to play on this piano. And that's why I still have it, even though I use the electric piano more often than not, because this piano doesn't stay in tune very well. It's a little bit rough, but you know, it's nice to have it, and sometimes I get it tuned and then we can play it for a while. We're going to come into the hallway. So over here you'll see I have my electrical panel, and this is another electrical panel, and they were so randomly placed. I was like, what if I just get a bunch of different things to fill in the gaps? So I actually found this mirror. I found that, I think, and I painted it gold. And this was a set of 3 mirrors that I found, and this clock came from my friend's house, and so I just got to do this little collection of rounds to kind of soften the squares of the electrical boxes. This is a piece that my mom gave me. I think it could also be used as a tray on a table because it has feet, but I hung it on the wall. This is a piece, this mirror is from, I believe it's from Target, and this lamp is also from Target. And this table I think I got at Marshall's. And I just like the circle motif, and it just helps to soften this area. Oh, this is funny. If you come around this way, you'll notice my little chimney here. This is wallpaper. This is peel and stick wallpaper. And I just thought that was so fun to take a piece that, you know, otherwise it just sticks out and it's like, I don't know what's underneath it, but I just think it's fun that I was able to make this look like a piece of architectural detail. So over here I have my crystal collection, and I made these shelves. I got some, I think they were stair treads that I got at Home Depot, and I ordered these pipes on Amazon, and I made some shelves. I cut these corners with a jigsaw, and this used to be just open shelving, and I put these doors on there, and so it just looks a little less cluttered. And now we're ready to come into the bedroom. This room was a lot harder to do than the living room. I tried a bunch of different combinations of wallpaper and bedspreads, and I have a darker bedspread, and it was just too heavy. This room I had it painted like a dark charcoal gray for a long time because I'm very light sensitive in the morning and I like to sleep and the light wakes me up, so I painted the whole room dark. But then of course it felt kind of like a cave and I wanted it to be a little bit brighter. So I painted the walls a lighter color. I got lighter curtains, and I found this headboard on Mogwai. Same place I got the sofa and the sideboard, and that made me want to lighten up the bedding. So we have this comforter, which is a nice pale gray as opposed to the dark charcoal I had before. This is actually 2 different rugs that I found at 2 separate HomeSense, and I put them together to make one big rug. The nightstands are from Marshall's, and the lamps I found at HomeSense. We have another of our Eiffel chairs, and this is the same wallpaper I used in the entryway, which I wanted to make look like it was paneling. And Nobody knows when they look at it. I mean, it looks, it looks like it's real wood until you get really close and you touch it. So let's not get really close and touch it. Over here, these dressers I actually have had in my room since I was a teenager, maybe even earlier than that. And they still serve their purpose, and I actually painted them a few years ago. I painted the fronts black and I painted the hardware gold just to make it look a little bit refreshed. This bench here I actually found at Home Goods in the Hamptons, and I actually recovered it with that same fabric that I used for the Roman shade in the kitchen. And I actually lined these curtains to make them a little more room darkening with that same fabric. Again, just wanted every room in the apartment to be more cohesive, especially the other rooms because they're open to each other. And this chandelier I found at Home Goods in the Hamptons also. Carried that home on the subway. That was fun. And here's another dumpster dive. I found this outside my friend's apartment in Brooklyn just the other day, and I love it. That's a good find. Let's go look at the bathroom. So of all of the rooms in this apartment, this one has had the least amount of renovation. I replaced the vanity. I used to have a pedestal sink with no storage, and actually this is kind of funny. This bathtub is not designed to be oriented this way. It's designed to be oriented that way, against the window. So this is just a panel that whoever put this on, they just put this plastic panel on here, and I hated the way it looked, and so I actually took that same wallpaper and wrapped the tub with it, and it looks a lot better. If you don't tell anybody, I won't tell anybody. This is also from Modway. You'll notice it's the same as the sideboard in the dining room. And this sconce I actually found at Habitat for Humanity while I was on a trip to Massachusetts, and it was $11. So you gotta love that. I used to have an old medicine cabinet that I took out and just put a simple oval shaped mirror. This piece is kind of similar in style with the marble top. I got that at HomeSense. And this light over here is interesting. That's a rechargeable light bulb. Because I don't have power over here in the bathroom, but I like having multiple light sources. Because it makes everything feel cozier. So the wall color I actually chose to match the tile. Rather than fighting with the yellow tile, I said, let's just embrace it. And so I brought a piece of the tile with me to the store, and this was the color I chose. I think it's called Cream Puff. So I also have a YouTube channel. It's called the Mike Faraci Band. If you would like to check it out, we have the link down in the description. And we do kind of a retro, kind of classic rock style of original music. We also have covers on there, so if you'd like to check us out, please do. And remember to like and subscribe. And thank you so much to the Art of Interiors for coming here and touring my apartment. This was so much fun, and I'm so happy we got to do this.